Hello, fellow heirs, and welcome back to Weekday Wind Down with the Word, where we are reading through the book of Leviticus. And today we will be reading the 9th chapter of Leviticus in the NLT version. This chapter includes the beginning of the priest's work. So without further delay, let's get started. After the ordination ceremony on the 8th day, Moses called together Aaron and his sons and the elders of Israel. He said to Aaron, "Take a young bull for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering, both without defects, and present them to the Lord. Then tell the Israelites, take a male goat for a sin offering, and take a calf and a lamb, both a year old and without defect, for a burnt offering. Also, take a bull and a ram for a peace offering, and flour moistened with olive oil for a grain offering. Present all these offerings to the Lord, because the Lord will appear to you today." So the people presented all these things at the entrance of the tabernacle, just as Moses had commanded. Then the whole community came forward and stood before the Lord. And Moses said, "This is what the Lord has commanded you to do, so that the glory of the Lord may appear to you." Then Moses said to Aaron, "Come to the altar and sacrifice your sin offering and your burnt offerings to purify yourself and the people. Then present the offerings of the people to purify them, making them right with the Lord, just as he had commanded." So Aaron went to the altar and slaughtered the calf as a sin offering for himself. His sons brought him the blood, and he dipped his finger in it and put it on the horns of the altar. He poured out the rest of the blood at the base of the altar. Then he burned on the altar the fat, the kidneys, and the long lobe of the liver from the sin offering, just as the Lord commanded Moses. The meat and the hide, however, he burned outside the camp. Next, Aaron slaughtered the animal for the burnt offering. His son brought him the blood, and he splattered it against the sides of the altar. Then they handed him each piece of the burnt offering, including the head, and he burned them on the altar. Then he washed the internal organs and the legs and burned them on the altar, along with the rest of the burnt offering. Next, Aaron presented the offering of the people. He slaughtered the people's goat and presented it as an offering for their sins, just as he had done with the offering for his own sin. Then he presented the burnt offering and sacrificed it in the prescribed way. He also presented the grain offering, burning a handful of the flour mixture on the altar, in addition to the regular burnt offering for the morning. Then Aaron slaughtered the bull and the ram for the people's peace offering. His son brought him the blood, and he splattered it against the side of the altar. Then he took the fat of the bull and the ram, the fat on the broad tail, and from around the internal organs, along with the kidneys and the long lobe of the liver. He placed these fat portions on top of the breast of these animals and burnt them on the altar. Aaron then lifted up the breast and right thighs as a special offering to the Lord, just as Moses had commanded. After that, Aaron raised his hand toward the people and blessed them. Then, after presenting the sin offering, the burnt offering, and the peace offering, he stepped down from the altar. Then Moses and Aaron went into the tabernacle, and when they came back out, they blessed the people again, and the glory of the Lord appeared to the whole community. Fire blazed forth from the Lord's presence and consumed the burnt offering and the fat on the altar. When the people saw this, they shouted with joy and fell face down on the ground. And that concludes the reading of Leviticus 9 in the NLT version. I mean, all I can say is wow on this last part. Wow, what an awesome God. And it makes me think, I have a question. And maybe some of you out there will know, God consumed the burnt offering. So, if we are offering up, our sacrifice to God, is He consuming it somehow? I mean, that thought just entered my mind. Is God consuming my offering, a sacrifice, whatever that may be? And if so, how is He doing it? I don't know. I'm just curious about that. And maybe I might not sound so smart having that thought. Maybe someone can help me out with that. And maybe God Himself will reveal it to me. If we are making an offering of some sort to Him, how is He consuming it? I know we do make offerings out of our finances to the Lord, and hopefully we are planting good seed in good ground, and so it's being used properly for God's glory. And I guess that's a way of Him consuming it, But this was an interesting chapter again about the priests beginning their work, and I might have to read this again just to see if I can get any takeaways from it as far as just conducting my life. I'm seeing some, or I'm trying to see some practical things. How can this help me practically in my life? Is there any practical application that I can take away from this? I know God is a God of order, and in all of this, everything is in order. What parts to use in the animals when they're sacrificing on the altar, what parts to use in this particular offering, and what parts to use in another. God is a God of order, and so I hope that, and I pray that I will always be in order for His glory. With that being said, I know that was a whole bunch of hodgepodge of things at the end. I do apologize. Hopefully you guys got something out of today's chapter. Please put it in the comments below of what you heard from the Lord, or what you thought about as this chapter was being read. As you know, iron sharpens iron. I can learn from you. You can learn from me. So let's grow together. Once again, thank you for listening to Weekday Wind Down with the Word, and have a nice life in Jesus Christ. Bye.